About 3 years ago, I had a question that I asked the internet, and it was, how can I, an athlete with asthma, actually complete a marathon with asthma? Is it even possible? I didn't know. I had no idea if it was even possible. And I found some articles out there that showed, yeah, you can do it. But I was still terrified. Well, today, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did to run my first marathon with asthma, and guess what? It wasn't even an official marathon. I just went and I ran 26.2 miles, and that was that. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I did it, but first, I have a free gift for you. It's linked right below this video, and it really has to do with becoming the best athlete that you can be, no matter what challenges you have. Very practical guide about how I was able to lose 2 pounds a week over 3 months, 165, and becoming healthier and a better athlete in the process. And I did it even with having asthma. So I've put all that together in a guide, very practical for you. It's gonna tell you exactly what to do in a given week, and it's gonna help you achieve your goals. Now, can I guarantee you're gonna lose 2 pounds a week? Hell no. But what I can do is if you go through and you implement the strategies that I have in the guide, you are gonna be a healthier person. But let's go through how I was able to run my first marathon with asthma. First of all, I've always had asthma. So it's not like I was running a bunch of marathons and then one day went to the doctor and they're like, yeah, you have asthma, by the way. And I'm like, oh shoot, well now I gotta figure out how to run a marathon with asthma. No, I've had asthma since birth. I hated running my entire life, okay? Running to just run. Okay, I was a big soccer player, loved soccer, played year-round soccer, playing soccer to this day, and loved it. Have always loved it, but I didn't like running. And what I mean is, like, I loved the sprinting, running after the ball, all that stuff. I played defense, played offense, played midfield, all that stuff. But I didn't like running just for running's sake. Hated getting on the treadmill, hated doing, the cross country, all that stuff. I didn't like it. And why didn't I like it? Well, first of all, I thought it was boring. Second of all, it freaking sucked. It was hard. Running is tough with asthma. So at least when I'm playing soccer, I'm distracted. I'm distracted from the chaos happening in my lungs and with the mucus and all this crap. But when you're running, you're not distracted. You're in it. It's more of a moving meditation, okay? Well, 3 years ago, I was like, I kind of want to run a marathon. How did I even come up with that idea? Well, rewind the clock back to 2016, I climbed my first 14er, something I never thought I'd do. I remember growing up, I was like, hey Dad, you think I climbed that mountain over there? I was in Glenwood Springs. I was like, think I can climb that mountain over there? He's like, yeah, son, I think you could. I'm like, how long do you think it'd take me? Half an hour? He's like, no, I think it'd take you a lot longer than half an hour. And I'm like, I think I want to do that someday. It just looked really cool. I love really hard things. Fast forward, 2016, I jumped at the opportunity to climb my first 2 14ers, Grays and Tories, with a big group of friends. Loved it, fell in love. Fell in love with the mountains. By the way, I'm a Colorado native, so I was always in love with the mountains, but I fell in love with being on top of those peaks, 14,000 feet in the air, above sea level. And it was amazing. And I got through it, even with asthma, I got through it. And since then, I've climbed 30 14ers, and I've climbed them multiple times. And I love it. Well, as the years have gone by, less and less people have wanted to climb. So I was like, I need a way to do this faster so I'm not bored, like especially going downhill. So I started trail running 14ers. Then 3 years ago, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to do a trail run marathon. That sounds fun. But I didn't know if it was going to be possible because I have asthma. So here is how I did it. First of all, my first marathon I ever did was not organized. I just grabbed my shoes, went out there, ran 26.2 miles. It was brutal. It was amazing though. And I didn't just go and do it. I had to prep. And here's why I did the prep. First of all, incremental training, okay? Incremental training. So does this mean that you can't just go out there and run 26.2 miles? No, you can do that. I've had friends do that, okay? One of my best friends did that when he was 19. Now I'm 32 now. He was 19. And he ran the Colfax Marathon, very little training. And I hear about this all the time. You can do it. Now, is it safe to do it when you have asthma? Man, I don't recommend it. I don't know of anyone that has asthma that has just one day said, I'm gonna run 26.2 miles tomorrow without any training. So I wouldn't do it. For me, I had an 18-week program. It was 18 weeks. I actually did the Peloton 18-week, maybe it was 16, 18 weeks. I did the Peloton program. It was amazing. But the most important part is it was incremental. I had never ran more than 10 miles before, okay? So every time I ran more miles, I actually got super emotional when I hit 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. And then I broke down crying on the ground when I hit 26.2. It was an amazing experience. And it was just an amazing feat. And yeah, I have asthma. I was able to do it. I was able to do it because I incrementally built it up. And that's so important because your lungs need to strengthen. Okay? Everything in your body needs to strengthen. But your lungs, when you have asthma, you need strong lungs. Strong lungs are going to get you through. And incremental training is going to get you those strong lungs. So that's number one. Number two, I avoided, to the best of my ability, foods that I'm allergic to and sensitive to. So avoided foods that hurt me. That's what we're going to put. Hurt me. Why did I do this? Well, another thing, for my asthma at least, is when I'm having an asthma attack, I have a lot of mucus buildup. Well, there's a lot of food, specifically dairy for me, that gives me more mucus. Beer also gives me more mucus. Sugar gives me more mucus. Sugar does a lot of other bad things too for me. But the point is, I was like, well, if I'm gonna run this, I should probably avoid the foods that are gonna give me a lot of mucus and are really gonna mess with me when I'm on mile 20 and I'm like not feeling it anymore. So I avoided the foods that caused inflammation, more mucus in my body. And then number three, this is what I actually did on race day. Keeping in mind, this was an actual race, so I just went out and did it myself, is I had some really intense race day prep. And I do this even when I do a marathon that is organized and they have all the stations every couple of miles, water, all this stuff. I still do. Race day prep's really important. And the number one thing, what do you think it is? The number one thing, if you have asthma, that you need on race day prep, what is it? Your inhaler. So make sure you have your inhaler. Have it with you. Run with that thing, okay? You need to have a pocket just so you can run with your inhaler. Hey, I know there's the hardcore marathon runners out there. Don't run with anything, okay? And maybe there are some hardcore marathon runners who have asthma that don't run with anything. Are you a hardcore marathon runner? Maybe you are. Regardless, have your inhaler with you. That's number one. Have it with you. Put it somewhere. Figure out how to carry it with you. Number two, make sure you have water, okay? Now, if it's an organized marathon, they're gonna have water every however many miles. You need to check where they have water. But regardless, I do recommend you bringing water with you because water is going to help you. It's going to keep you hydrated. It's going to keep your muscles oxygenated. You need water because if you start getting dehydrated, it is going to make running a lot harder. Your body's going to need more oxygen, all this stuff, and it's going to snowball. So make sure you bring water with you. For me, I had 3 liters of water with me. And I swapped it out halfway through. So I actually ended up having a total of 6 liters of water with me. Did I drink it all? No, I think I drank about 4 or 5, but I made sure I had it with me just in case I needed it. Next one, I had food. Now, depending on who you talk to, they're gonna tell you different things when it comes to food. Now, a marathon may be short enough where you don't necessarily need to do this, but when you're talking about running 50K, 50 miler, 100 miler, all the experts say you need to have 200 to 300 calories an hour to supplement what you're burning. Now you're gonna burn way more than that, but you need to keep eating 200, 300 calories an hour so you can actually have something to burn. Well, with food, if you're doing an organized marathon, they're gonna have food in different places too, but keep in mind, the food may be something that bothers you. It may be something that creates that excess mucus. Okay? It may be the food that you're trying to avoid. You could avoid all the foods that mess with you leading up to the marathon, and then on marathon day, you don't bring food with you, and you go to the first aid station, and they have this really sugary thing with dairy or whatever, and it messes you up. You can mess up your entire marathon. Now, when I did my first marathon, I ran without aid stations, so I had to bring food with me. So I had like a rice burrito with me, I had some dates with me, I had honey stingers, and pretzels. Pretzels are my go-to thing when I'm running because it gets me the carbs, it gets me the salt. I love it. I love running with pretzels. But basically, make sure you have some sort of food with you. Next, support. Okay? So if you're doing an organized marathon, support is built in. Okay? That's what you're paying for, is the support to be available. But in this case, I was running on my own. So my amazing significant other was supporting me along the way. I also had a couple friends that came and ran with me for part of it, okay? So I made sure that I had support. And this really goes into the last one. You want people to know where you are. So if you're on a marathon course, it's a lot easier for them to know where you are. But if you're running and you're just by yourself, and you're just running to run, or you're just, and this in general, not necessarily just when you're running a marathon, but you want people to know where you are. So you want to be able to have a tracking device on you. So I just use my phone. My phone is always tracking me, and I just share that location with my significant other and anyone else that may need it. But yeah, Tatiana knows where I am at all times, especially when I'm training, because it's really important. Who knows? I mean, I could have an asthma attack. Thank God, knock on wood, my asthma, I've done a lot of work to get my asthma in check. But God forbid something happens, I want people to know where the heck I am, okay? So you do all these three things, you're going to be able to run a marathon. Now, definitely check with your medical doctor, check with your healthcare professional. Make sure you start incremental. Make sure you avoid things that just make you feel shitty. Avoid those things. It's gonna make it a lot easier. And then make sure you have that race day prep. And remember, I have a free gift for you right below this video. It's gonna help you with really the incremental training. It's gonna help you with some nutrition and just prep in general. Now, it's all about losing a couple pounds a week, okay? I was able to do that over 90 days, lost 25 pounds. It was amazing. So I put all this in a guide to help you achieve your goals, even if you have asthma. Thank you for the likes and subscribes.